Hello there. This is a quick video for a few minutes. Just detailing what you can do with the PlayStation 2, which is one of my favorite consoles, mainly because at the moment it's really cheap. You can find them pretty much anywhere because they only made a few million of them. In Australia you can get them between $20 to $50 for a unit, and depending on how many games and everything that you get. And this cool mod is just something handy. Basically, if you own a lot of PlayStation 2 games and they're starting to get scratched up, also if you do want to play them online, you can use the online feature as well. And the other thing is, if you don't want to damage your discs and you want to play your backups, but also if you do want to try some of those homebrew games and also emulation as well. Anyway, so with your PlayStation 2, you have to use the fatty. This is one that I got quite a while ago for about $20 Australian. And the good thing was I got it for $20 and it actually came with the official Sony hard drive adapter, which is an IDE adapter. But you can get these for about $20 to $40 Australian as well. And the other thing you can do is also just get them online from eBay, between $10 to $20 as well. The difference has been the official Sony one will let you hook up to the internet with the network connection, whereas the third-party ones that you'll get will have this sticker here generally. Don't bother to peel that off. You can't actually use the network capabilities on this one, but in the end, you want to use the actual hard drive aspect of it. Now, if you want to, you can just find a cheap or second-hand IDE hard drive, but the trouble with that is it's actually quite bulky. It makes a bit of noise as well, and setting that up can be a bit of a bother. So with this mod, we're actually going to put an SD card in it, so that if you ever need to, all you have to do then is actually just take the back out, pop the SD card out, put into your laptop or PC, and then load whatever games you need to on here. The main purpose of this is just so that you can still play the games that you have without risking damaging the discs. And also, if your disk drive over time doesn't actually work, sometimes with some of the blue discs as well, it just depends on the model of unit that you've got. The main thing is then, if you do have the discs and you can't play them or you don't want to scratch them, you can at least still play them. The other feature is you can actually have multiple games on these SD cards as well. The only caveat is you have to have basically a 40 gig or larger. So basically a 64 gig or larger is preferred. And the best thing is it's actually very quiet. There's very fast load times, and basically it's actually a very easy system to get straight into. So check that out. I'll show you the parts. So these are the parts that you'll need. Well, obviously you've got a PlayStation unit and it just can be whatever was covering the back, you pop that out. Make sure that's nice and clean in there. Essentially, your PlayStation's it. You have to have an SD card or micro SD card with an adapter. Here's one that I just found amongst my pile of ones that I normally use for other things such as RetroPie and such. Make sure it's nicely snug in the adapter. Now what you'll be doing is actually putting this into your PC or laptop and setting that up with the games and the systems that you need to put on this. Essentially, you're putting a operating type system on here with the actual images of the games that you need to run. Don't mess with the locking, just leave that. One from eBay has a sticker, just leave it, don't bother peeling it. Those stickers normally leave a little bit of crap and you'll have to clean it off with ISO or something, and it shows a pretty average looking network port in there, which is not being used at all anyway. Not really too much of a difference. Essentially, if you can, so this is the third-party one. Essentially, if you can get the official Sony one, they're ideal. If you do find one, I would recommend getting it, mainly because you can then go online as well. Obviously, you can go online if you have disc games and you're using a slim, but the fatty is way more versatile, much better to use. So essentially this one's already set up, but I'll just take it apart and show you what's involved. Essentially, after you've got these two adapters, one of either of these adapters, all you would need is SD card. So that's the ID there. what it is it's a standard IDE, so you need to change that from regular, you know, like your 3.5 size IDE hard drive number of pins, do the smaller number of pins, because the smaller number of pins goes into these adapters. And just make sure the orientation, because even though there's a notch taken out there, just make sure that's correct as well. Make sure your pins are going in nice and correctly as well. Don't force anything, just nicely there. And this one, you won't ever have to take this setup apart again if you've done it correctly. So take note of the pins, and then these two are power coming out, and make sure that's plugged in nice and neat. Tuck that down. You can tape it if you want to, but it's not really a big deal. So this is the official Sony one. You can do the exact same with a third-party one. They're pretty much built similar. This GameStar one I've used before, and they seem to be fine. But I have an official Sony one, which I prefer to use anyway. To put these screws in, you just use a coin, but you can place them in loosely. Now, the other system you can do is basically have multiple SD cards with multiple games and libraries if you want to. But if you want to start off, I would just recommend just get one and try them out and put a few games in and just make sure they work. So all you do is pop that out. SD cards here. That's it. Straight back in, make sure that cable's nice and out of the way. Push that in, that's fine. But if you want to make sure, you just screw these in with the coin and you're ready to go. But I will show you how to load your SD card first. You've got your SD card, plug that into your PC. First thing you have to do is format it. So we're using the program WinHip. I'm going to run that as admin. Cancel that. It might ask you to format it. Don't bother, because you'll be formatting it in a specific way in WinHip. WinHip's been around for a while. Let's select our drive. Okay, this one, a little bit smaller than 64 gig. Oops, got some images already there. So let's format it. We'll need to format it using Toxic OS. Bang. You want to do it? Yes, I believe so. Quick erase is fine. It creates partitions and it erases the drive. The drive is erased and it's ready. Exit out of WinHip. Now we are utilizing hard drive raw copy. Run as admin. Generally the main thing you'll forget half the time is to run most of these as admin. This one will take a little while. So what we have here is raw copy tool. Please select the source. You don't want your actual SD card to be the source. This is my hard drive. This is a USB, which is the SD card, and this is the actual image, which is the actual image that you'll find through the link and the other instructions. Essentially, it's a 40 gig image, but once it's written, it'll actually be smaller as well. And what this one is the actual OS, the VASH that they've created. Continue. Please select the target. Obviously, I don't want it to be the file. I want it to be the hard drive, i.e. the SD card that I want to utilize. And bang. Okay, this is the actual image. It's 40 gig, but once it's written, it actually condenses to a smaller amount. I can only assume it's 40 gig because it's probably based on the original 40 gig hard drives that the PlayStation utilized before. So we've got this. This will take a while, and go make yourself a cup of tea. All data will be overwritten, correct? Okay, and we're done. So that's finished moving. We can X out of that. And now we can load WinHit. And admin. So on top of the actual OS, the programs that have just been put onto the hard drive, we can now put our ISOs of our games. Run as admin for WinHit. Docky. Select drive, and obviously you want that one. So OS, it's 55 gig free on this one. 2.88 has been used. So that's what the actual OS is. So what we're going to do now is add an image. We want an image file, add an image. You can do batches of image files on here and leave it to do that, which is quite easy. It saves you a lot of time. So what we want is Tekken 5, 4 gig, so we have heaps of spare space. Start. If you do multiples, it won't actually load this up. It'll actually, by default, choose all modes. You're just telling it's a DVD. You don't really have to change anything here, and that's how it'll actually be displayed on your hard drive. You can change the name if you want to, or you can rename it once you're in OPL or hard drive loader. And now it's going to copy over, and we just go make ourselves another cup of tea. Okay, so we've just copied over the ISO, and now it's just finishing off. The image has been installed. It's just here. Awesome. So we're done. Exit, and let's just uninstall. Let's just eject, sorry, the SD card. And we can now test it out. Okay, so we've got our SD card with our ISO just written on it. We've got our actual device we put together. So the SD card in, that's it. Our PlayStation, insert it there. Probably best if you tighten these screws up, but for the purpose of this demo, just keeping it in there. Okay. Component, that's what I prefer. Put our power in, make sure it's off. Okay, put that there. Tonight I'll be rocking the Mad Catz Dual Force 2 controller, and just for fun, just got a spare 16 meg memory card here, and this is the actual copy of Tekken 5 which I grabbed a while ago, and the disc is scratched AF. So anyway, let's put our memory card in. Controller, flick it on, got a red light, turn it on, and this is the OS and everything that you can see. So just hit browser, and it comes up as a hard drive. And there you go. That's all the programs that you need. And I prefer to use OPL loader. There's a few settings that you'd have to tweak, but for the purpose of this demo, I'll just show you just loading up the game nice and quickly. And there you go. Automatically loads up the hard drive. There's Tekken 5, and let's just run that. By default, it flicks these colors through. It's handy just as a test to make sure that it is loading. You can't switch it off, it's annoying. And after that, it'll just load the game up. I must have had some Tekken data on there as well. And there you go, Tekken 5. I can play that. Get straight into it.
The King of Iron Fist Tournament 5. Nina Williams, get ready for the next battle.
Time to die.
Round 1. Fight. You win. Round 2. Fight.
There you go. So you can play all of your games that are getting scratched, and also if your disk drive doesn't work anymore, you can put your games aside still and still play them. So it's a handy little thing. Plus, you can try a whole bunch of other things on that menu, and if you stuff up, just rewrite all of it again. So there you go.
Round 1. Fight.